So welcome to session 2 of the Ready for Growth workshop. First session we did was all about your goals, your visions, your dreams and aspirations. And this one we're doing all about the business. So it's really taking those ideas, visions, goals and dreams and transforming them into a business that will allow you to achieve them. Hopefully from last week, having spoken with quite a few people during the week, the goals and visions have been reasonably clear, and some good ideas about sort of growth and opportunities are beginning to bubble along, which is good to see. So the first question really is, do you have clarity around what the goal is? You know, your personal goal, the vision from session 1. If you have, then great. If you haven't, it's all sort of work in progress. The main reason for that is because owning your own business really means that you can construct your business to suit your lifestyle, goals, visions and aspirations, not the other way around. And I was speaking with somebody this morning who is a very senior person in a large company who don't own their own business. And it was interesting in how they were describing the opportunities within their organization, and much more focused on the going for the big bright career without really thinking too much about what it would mean for them individually. So as business owner entrepreneurs, we can flip that over. We put ourselves first, our families first, and we decide what we want them to experience, what our visions and goals are, and then we build our business around that so we can achieve it. So that's the principle. So if you've got the goal and the vision, the dream in mind, and you know what it looks like, what do you need your business to look like? This is what we're sort of looking at today, and just some of the broad ideas and tips. I think certainly in the UK now, with the COVID restrictions beginning to relax and not come to an end yet, but certainly relaxing, more opportunities. There seems to be an uplift in the sort of the spirit and hope, certainly within the UK. Things are beginning to bubble along and happen quite nicely. So we've got there is a golden opportunity there, hence this workshop to a degree. But do you know what you want your business to look like? And as we said last week, I think as well, are we thinking big enough? Not just for the sake of thinking big, but are we thinking big enough in terms of scalability and sales and profitability and everything that we can do on a grander scale to achieve our goals and aspirations? And we see this a lot when talking to people within organizations, when they limit themselves. They have these reasons or excuses, not you guys particularly, but people in the network, where they say, well, I can't do this in my area. It's very, very tough. Or this price point applies in my area, or the competition is very, very tough down here. Whatever it is, they come up with some reasons and excuses to limit themselves. And what happens if they don't believe they can grow their business? Then they limit their personal goals and aspirations. They do a trade-off for it as well, which is a real shame. So what do you need the business to look like? And sort of take the brakes off and just think creatively. The purpose of today's workshop really is just to consider a few ideas, some strategies, some principles that maybe haven't been considered or you could consider to grow, build and develop your business for the rest of this year and onwards as well. So question number 1, and we can touch on this. I may be asking you to type in on the chat box. I might bring somebody onto the conversation as well. We're only a reasonably small group this week, which is great. Just 1 second. I better let Vicky in. I'll get told off. She's a lawyer. I don't want to get sued. So Vicky's just joining us. So hey, say hi to Vicky. I will mute Vicky. Just nothing personal, but I've muted everybody else anyway. But the first question is, what is your superpower? And it's sort of odd question, and I was given this question by actually a lawyer client of mine donkeys years ago, and we went to a networking event. It was actually BNI, and I know they're still going on. Some of you guys are going to BNI over in the UK, and we're at this event together. And I was always wondering, what could you say to somebody when you meet them for the first time, apart from how's the weather, how's the journey here, isn't it cold, and all that sort of stuff. And she would walk around and she'd go, hi, my name's Sarah. And she just said to me, what's your superpower? And people either walked off in disgust, or they'd have a conversation. But it's an interesting question to ask ourselves. What is our superpower? Because what is it that you do that nobody else can do? What is your gift, your talent? What is it that you do that nobody else can do that will define you in your business? Now, it doesn't matter whether you're an accountant, you're a martial artist, or you're in franchising or relocations. It doesn't make any difference. it's not the business you're in, it is you as an individual. What is your unique talent that nobody else has got? And I know, I think all of you reasonably well, and I've got an idea what I think it is, but it's sometimes interesting to see what people think their superpowers are, because if you can figure out what it is, what is your unique gifts and talent, and you construct that into your business, that will be a defining factor, a differentiator for you. So does anybody have any ideas? What would you say, if I will pick on somebody in a minute, who's got any idea what their superpower is? Any ideas? I was looking down the screen, see anybody who's fallen asleep. I might bring them onto the screen, but Gareth's talking, but not to me, I sense. So it's okay. No, it's fine. Who have we got? I picked on Sam and Vicky last week. So I'm going to pick on Mr. Kevin Gallagher. How about that? Oh, look at his little face. Look at that. That's excitement, that is. So can you unmute, Kevin, to jump on for a second? Just give us a... There we go. Can I hear you? You've got your mic on?
Yep, you can.
Excellent. Good. Excellent.
I was the reason I went, because I was just putting something in the chat box.
All right. Okay. Oh, perfect.
The answer to the question.
So what do you think? I mean, you and I have known each other for about 75 years now, I think.
Yeah.
But what's your view? Because this is really interesting for other people, I think, as well. What's your superpower? What are you unique and very talented at?
Building a customer-centric business.
Okay, great. For you or for your clients, or both?
I encourage my clients to do it.
Yeah.
But for myself, something I learned from my dad.
Yeah.
Which was when I first went into business. I was in business because I wanted to make money.
Yeah.
And after about 6 or 7 months, there was no money showing up. There was some money showing up.
Yeah.
It was scraps. And I asked my dad, what am I doing wrong? And he said, well, what are you trying to do? I said, I'm trying to make money. He said, well, there's your problem.
Yeah, that's okay.
He said, the thing you've got to do is look after your customers. Really look after your customers.
Yeah.
Better than anybody else can look after the customers, and the money will show up. And it was like, yeah, that sort of works.
Yeah, it does sort of work, doesn't it? No, I agree. That's fabulous. Great point. Yeah, good. Thank you, Kev. Thank you. You're a star. I will mute you again. Nothing personal, but it's just occasionally on in the background. And I was speaking actually and Sam knows this gentleman, a gentleman called Simon over in the UK, and we had a virtual a social event for Sam and her team, and I had never met this guy before, who's a colleague and a friend of Sam and the guys over in the UK, and we just sort of connected and we'll have a conversation. We had a Zoom call yesterday as it happened, and he is a lovely guy, very, very highly experienced, very knowledgeable, and his background is hospitality and hotels and building customer service experiences. And yeah, I bet she does. So I see the chat box pop up, and I said to him, well, what is it what's your view on the customer service? What's the number one ingredient? And he said, you just got to get people with the right attitude and personality. He said, forget skills, we'll train that. He said, just get people who are good with other people. And it's like, wow. So so his superpower is finding this essence and personality in people and guiding them through, and he's had a huge success at it. And Kev, I know your background of restaurants and the sort of the catering, hospitality business as well. Same thing applies. But if you can figure out what it is, what's your superpower, what are you really good at that nobody else can do, then that's what you build into your business, because nobody can take that away from you. So that's job number one. The second one, then, how do you take that superpower and turn it into a service, into something that people will actually pay for, that you can enjoy doing, that makes you money, that adds value, that is scalable, and that can put into your business? I do find a lot of people, they are very, very good at something, but they don't use those talents in their business for some reason. And this happens in the professions a lot. I'm not picking on Vicky as a lawyer, but a lot of professionals, they have a fabulous talent for something, but they choose to stick to their professional education, training, and qualifications. It's a real shame, because they can blend the two together. So what is the service that you're going to use and deliver after COVID comes to an end? Will it be different than it was before? And how will you use this superpower that you have to develop your services and products? Does it need to change compared to what it was 12 months ago? Because now it's what's the date now? It's the It's by the day, mid-March, isn't it? Pretty much, forgot the date now. It's the 4th, isn't it, today? 4th of March. I think, of memory, last year on the 15th, which is almost 12 months ago, all but a week, was when we had the lockdown notification. And the reason we found out was because all the gantries on the auto route popped up with all these different signs. And we were sort of notified by text message immediately that we're going to go into lockdown and everything like that. 12 months ago, the world's changed. So the service we offered 12 months and 1 week ago, when we come out of this in 3 or 4 months in the UK, 4 or 5 months maybe over here on the continent, will it need to be different? What will we need to do differently as a service offering in the new post-COVID world than we did in the pre-COVID world? Because what worked 12 months ago may not work next time round. So how do you build this, your superpower, into your service offering? What are you going to do slightly differently? And the third one is, what is your new SP? Your USP, what makes you different? Because if I look at the relocations business, the coaching business, martial arts business, whatever business you're in, I'll pick on martial arts because I do know quite a few of the martial artists. And what I find is that the most successful martial artists aren't just good at punching and kicking. And that's a very generalized term for martial arts. So Amandeep's going to come and sort me out if I'm not very careful. But they're not just good at punching and kicking. What they're good at is customer service, relationships, sales, marketing, leadership. They have a defined approach to their business. They do something unique and special. They recognize they're in the customer service sector, not just the martial arts sector. And you can taste the difference, if you like. When you look at how they build and run their business, it's different to everybody else's. The danger is, if we're not very careful, is that for all of us, we're all in a very competitive, saturated, red water type market, from martial arts to coaching and training, that we get squashed down to price. Because if I can't tell the difference, if I think I'm going to get the same product or service from everybody, I'm going to choose the cheapest one as a differentiator. So differentiation, USP, is a key driver. What is it that makes you unique and different? And so somebody says to you at an event, why would I buy from you? What makes you different? And you can't answer it. Well, then they're probably right. There's no difference at all. So we need to be really clear on your personality, your superpower, your service offering, and uniqueness. And coming out of COVID is a golden opportunity to review and refresh and revise what we're offering and what does make you stand out from the crowd and make you different. Because when you're different, that's where the opportunities come from. So who thinks, who on the call, on the conversation, who thinks they've got a very defined uniqueness that is truly unique in their sector? Anybody got any points there before I pick on somebody? I want to pick on Stefan because he's eating, so I'll just Stefan, would you join us and just talk about Lux Relo, what makes you unique and special?
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem. My dancing skills.
You know what? I don't know if everybody on this call knows that video, but just explain. You stay, because you do it much better than I do. Just run through what happened and what the dancing video was.
Well, 2 weeks in lockdown in March, I have a call with David, and basically he tells me, you need to publish videos, you need to be online, you need to show that you exist. And I said, yeah, it's been weeks that you told me to do videos. I didn't do any videos. And at the end, I said, oh yeah, I did a video the other day with my daughter dancing from a school teacher. And at the end, he told me, oh, that's great, you should publish it. And finally, what happened is that it was a huge success when I published it. And it gained me visibility. I got interviewed, and I was, on webinars with people asking me about this, the whole story behind that.
How many views did it get? I mean, it's probably still going now, I suppose, but how many views did it get? Do you recall?
I think I was like around 8,000.
Wow. So 8,000 views of it. And what it was, you, I mean, just it's a bit of a fun thing. But you were in a dress as well, weren't you? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we need to be quite specific here. You were in a dress, quite a pretty little dress from memory. Actually, I can remember that. But you're dancing, with your daughter to the TV thing, the music playing, just good fun, nice, right? And it doesn't have to be just the business uniqueness. It can be personality uniqueness and visibility uniqueness as well.
And really, what I discovered at this point is that. Especially when you're an entrepreneur, you need to show that your uniqueness, and that when people meet you, it's the same way as when they see you online, and that your business is similar to your personality. And I think it's what makes my difference now on the market, is that
I would absolutely agree. I think, in fact, I think it's a bit more than that. I think it is absolutely your personality. I think it's because the boss isn't here today. I know that, but it's you and Sandrine. You guys come as a pair, and it's your split personalities, uniqueness there, and that is so. It's not just. I know you provide excellent customer service. And you absolutely do. But part of the uniqueness is actually your approach, your personality, your values, and the way you approach business as well. So it doesn't have to be just the product that we offer. It can be the context in which we do it as well. So no, nicely done. That's great. I think it's a great story. Thanks, Stefan. There we go. They're fabulous. So if you want to get famous, do a dancing video or something like that. I think we do need Vicky to volunteer to do the opera singing video at some point. I'm not going to pick on Vicky again this week because she'll tell me off, but I think that will be great. And there we go. Vicky's just left the room now. She's not participating anymore. Okay, so figure out your USP and how do we bring that to life? What do we do? Because if you're the best kept secret in your sector, or you may have the best vision, values, personality, style, whatever it is, but you're not publicizing it, you're not putting it out there, nobody will taste the difference, and then you're going to get price pushback, or you're not going to get any recognition for it. And I know all you guys reasonably well, and I think one of the common patterns is that you're all a bit odd in a positive way. And I mean that in a positive, constructive way, but we're all a bit strange, a bit odd, a bit crazy to do what we do. And that's what people find attractive and unique and powerful about us. It's our personalities, it's our take on things and how we put it out there. I know Laura can't be on the call today, but Laura over in the UK, she put a video out. You may have seen it. And she just said, did a video. It's imperfect. I know it's imperfect, but here we go. This is what it looks like. And it's just putting stuff out there because people resonate with people, and also they buy from people as well. And this applies to your team. If you've got people in your network, managers, franchisees, whatever it is, they can do the same sort of thing, but publicizing this sort of uniqueness about you and your business and the approach you take. And it is hugely, hugely attractive. So next one is then productizing. How do you productize what it is that you're now going to do? And the danger is, if we're not careful, and for a lot of people, is they will just literally, we do stuff, we do training, or we do martial arts, or we do legal advice, or we do house cleaning, or whatever it is, but there's no productizing around it. And there's some key aspects to why you should productize your service, because it makes it easier to buy, it adds value to it, and it makes it a lot easier to digest. We have another client who can't be on the call today, unfortunately. It's a real shame. And what she was doing, she's productized her services into 3 key bands: the silver, gold, and VIP. And when she approaches people now, and they tell her, how does it work? What do we do? She would explain, we have a range of 3 services for you. We have this one, and this one, and the price doubles between each product. So you start with the silver one, and then the gold one, and the VIP, and the price starts here. It doubles, and it doubles again. And when we looked at the offering, the value to her in her business is the silver one, because she's got the best income, best margins. That's a sweet spot for her. And she launched it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I got a message, spoke to her yesterday, and she sold her first gold package, which is twice the price of what her original service offering was for the last 2 or 3 years. So we doubled her prices, pretty much effectively double the headline. Yes, they get a bit more service for that, but the margin's a lot higher, and she's just much more comfortable and confident now because she's productized. Sam, I know you guys are doing a lot of work on productizing what you do. I may ask you to give us a quick heads up, if that's okay, in a second or two, without giving away all the secrets to the competition, but the sort of the approach that you're taking and why. But when you buy chocolates, you don't just buy one. Well, you mean you can. The reason you buy a box of chocolates is because somebody's productized it. They have a selection. They have the dark chocolate or the milk chocolate or the fruit selection, or they have the ones with alcohol in or alcohol free. They make a selection for us and they say, here's our XYZ product range. And we go, that's great. It makes sense because it's bundled together. It takes away some of the choices. Now, if there's these chocolates in a box and there's about there's 12 in that box, I think. Is there 12, 15 in that box, by the look of it? If we buy each one of those chocolates individually, let's say they're going to be 10 euros each or 10 pounds each for one chocolate, buy them as a box of 15, it's not going to be 150 quid. It's going to be a lot cheaper. So we perceive as a consumer, we're getting much better value because we're bundling things together. We think we're getting it cheaper. In reality, of course, from the manufacturer point of view, the last thing you ever want to do is make one of something. It is hugely expensive. You can't afford to do it. You can't afford to buy the products. If I can bundle 15 things in a box, I don't need to sell them for 15 times the price of one product. I can sell them at a much better, lower price, but high margin point as well. So bundling allows me to raise volume and get the economies of scale in the business. Manufacturing costs come down, shipping costs come down, packaging costs come down, the whole thing. And the customer thinks they're getting a great deal. So productizing is key. If you go into McDonald's, I'm not trying to force food franchising on you here. But you go into McDonald's or any food, any restaurant, any franchise, whatever it is, you don't walk in there and you have to explain what you want. You don't say, I'd like a burger in a bun. I'd like some cheese on it. They're not sort of making notes going, what the heck are you talking about? They productize it. So, if you order the Big Mac meal or the quarter pounder meal or the Royale, as it's called over here, meal, or you go Maxi on it or whatever, you know what you're going to get. They bundle it all together and the buyers think they're getting a great deal. Now, interesting for McDonald's, for example, when you order a meal, and I haven't been to McDonald's for yonks, but anyway, apparently when you order a meal at McDonald's, there's an option there to make it supersize or make it Maxi or whatever it's going to be. And what happens is that, interestingly, if you think, the burger doesn't change, the burger doesn't get any bigger. All that happens is you get a slightly bigger cup of fizzy drink, and you get a slightly bigger cup of fries as well. Now, the uplift from a standard meal to a Maxi meal is probably something like 50 cents or 50 pence, whatever it is. It's not a huge amount, but from a consumer point of view, it's 50 cents. But the marginal cost of that extra little bit of Fanta or Coke and the extra, I don't know, half a dozen fries is almost inconsequential. It's a 1 or 2 cents. So the margin that they make on the uplift is way higher than they make on the rest of the product. So they're offering these products for the maxi size, not because it's good for the consumer or it's easier, but it's great for margins. So look at your products and your services. Are they productized? Have we got the gold, silver, bronze package? Have we got the program, the products? Have we got options in there for people to choose? Because they don't know what you do. And if our response to people in our marketing is, well, I do stuff and you pay me more money and I'll do some more stuff for you, you're not going to be able to sell it. So productizing is really key. If you look at the car industry is key for this. If you look at your BMW, they have a full range of services, a full range of products, a full range of options. And you can buy all sorts of different colors, different trim levels. And they've really productized their whole offering. And they even give them names, the different levels of car. It starts off with the 1 Series, right the way through to, I think the 8 Series is back now, I think, in BM. And so I think the X7 is out now. I'm not sure if it's do you have the X7 in the UK? Just the X7 in the UK? Yeah, great. Yeah, good point. Would you like fries with that question? Do you ask people that? Do you want to maximize this? But BMW have a range of products. They name them, the 1 Series, 2, 3 Series, 2, all the way through. And then they have the M series or the X series, a full range. All they're doing is productizing. So they're taking away some of the decisions from the clients and making it easier to make the purchase. So if I look at your business, the legal business, franchising business, whatever it is, then how easy is it for me to go, right, I understand what you do, it's bundled and packaged, and it's easy for me to make the purchasing decision. So Sam, would you jump on and just give us a very quick run through, without giving all the secrets away, of the approach you guys are taking to some productizing?
Yeah, so okay, we've bundled the services into bronze, silver, gold packages. The reason being, for everything that David's just been saying, it enables an uplift in sales based on value. So it's a value-driven process rather than a price-led process now. Yes, we're taking transition time. So instead of going in and seeing what people need doing and then saying, oh, all right, that's going to be 3 hours and 3 hours is, you know, at this rate, we actually give them the choices to choose from right up front without any prices attached, so that they dictate, go, actually, I'd really like the silver package, that would work for me, because most people are going to go right down the middle of the road. And of course, the bronze really just covers off the basics. Silver goes a little bit further, and gold really is more like having a housekeeper. It goes along those lines, or with home help. It's as simple as that, really. But it's changing the way that people buy from us, but it also means you have to change the way you sell to them. So there is a shift.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think it's a mindset, because if we're locked in a hourly rate mindset or a very narrow field mindset of service and product delivery, you can't do it. If we broaden it out and make it more accessible to people, and we watch the margins on the different products, it works really well. So no, great, thanks Sam, brilliant, thank you. The next one is also fragmentation. Now, if you look at the price points of your services, we should have a range of price points for different people to be able to buy from us. Now, for me, for example, you can buy a book, which is about $15, I think it is now, on Amazon. You can buy a book, you can go on a workshop, you can come to a seminar, you can do this, you can do that, all the way through to a full-blown, coaching program for you and your team and the whole thing. So my fragmentation of services or access points goes from a book, so it's $15 through to 2, 3, 4, 5 grand, and all things in between. It depends what it is. But if we only have a single product, we're cancelling out a lot of potential, not because of our target marketing, but because we don't allow clients and prospects to work their way through and up the food chain. I've had people who have bought a book, they come to a seminar, they come to a workshop, and then they start working with us on a full-blown program, but they have to work the way through it first. So fragmentation is the key. Now, I did a quick search before we started this, and this is on a website over here in France. It's a German website, as it happens, called mobile.de, and it's a car sales website for buying new cars, secondhand cars. And I tried to find the most expensive BMW I could find, and this is what I found. It might not be the most expensive, but it's up there. And this is a BMW M850i X-Drive Grand Coupe HK Hi-Fi DAB LED WLAN. I have no idea what all that means, but it's a heck of a badge on the back of this thing. But anyway, this BMW is 143,000 euros, which is about 15,000 pounds at the moment. Anyway, 143,000 euros for this fabulous car. The cheapest new BMW I could find was this one, which is the BMW 116i. Again, Active Guard DAB connected package, whatever it is. And that one is 20,690. And that's a huge spread in between. And that's what they do really well, because the access points to BMW are, they have the same brand, same values, same quality, same standards, but you can buy one for 21 grand, 20 and a half, and you can buy one for 143. You can also go down the M route. They do there's Alpina. There's all sorts of things you can do on top if you want to, but the range of BMWs is huge. So what's your product range? What's your access point? How fragmented is the access to your products and services? And there's lots of examples of this. You've got Coca-Cola, for example. They have, and difficult to find out actually, but how many flavors and stars of Coca-Cola are there in the world? Well, you look at Coca-Cola as an organization, they have different things. They have soups in some territories. They have, orange drinks and cola drinks and all sorts of things, and water and all sorts of things. About 3,500 different products or brands within their portfolio. So what they're saying is, well, there's a whole range. There's apple, there's orange, there's cherry, there's sugar-free, there's a huge range. Anybody can access it. Now, what I like about Coca-Cola, as opposed to BMW, or not say I like, but one of the key things they've done strategically is, it doesn't matter who you are or what you earn or where you come from, the price of a can of Coca-Cola is the same for me as it is for multi-billionaires. They haven't changed the price. It's a really interesting model if you think about it. There's no Coca-Cola out there, which is the GL version. There's not a can of Coke that costs $50 and the normal can costs €1 or something. The price point stays fixed, and they've done this fragmentation approach to broaden out the appeal to lots and lots of people. So it can be price and as BMW, but it might just be product range as well. There's different ways of looking at it. So how can you fragment and productize your portfolio as you go along? So I'm going to invite you to go into, well, any questions before we go into the first breakout room? Any questions? Just type them in. So there's only going to be 2 rooms. We're a very small bijou group today. I'm going to pause recording, but the question for you in the group is, what are the gaps? Where do you see the gaps for you? Just, compare notes between each other. Where do you see the gaps in either productizing, in terms of fragmentation, in terms of how you can take this thing to market? And there's some people on here done some great work on this already. So pick their brains, ask some questions. So I'm going to pause recording, and then so I think this bundling approach and the levels, the packaging, and this fragmentation approach, it's really helpful. It enables the buyers to make choices, and we can offer choices. They can choose a range of things, and it makes the buying easier, it makes the selling a lot easier. And it also means that if they don't want to go for the gold package, well, they can have the silver package instead for a while, or whatever it is. There's always somewhere you can go with it that overcomes any potential objections. But what you're going to find is there are people out there that want to buy the 150,000 M8 BMW, and there are other people out there that want to buy the little 1 point whatever diesel 1 Series BMW. No right or wrong, but then where do BMW make more money? Probably on the volume side of the cars. They probably make more cash from the little cars, but more kudos from the big cars, the halo cars, if you like, as well. Same for us. We maybe only have a few of the gold and platinum packages. Most of our income and margin comes out of the silver package. That's great. It's absolutely fine. It just gives a range. You can always promote people through the network, if you like. So no, it's a good point. Great.
You can always make your gold package the silver package.
Of course you can, yes.
And then whatever you think they should be on, you make that the silver package. And I think
always have something aspirational for them to go for, and keep adjusting as you go along. Yeah, it's a great point. Great point. Okay, so likely then with all these ideas, then, I mean, one of the key principles we've probably got to look at is getting, I think there's 2 stages for business after COVID. One is getting back to what was the pre-COVID level, because 2020 started off really well. We were fully booked. We were off to Spain and Italy and all over the place, workshops and conferences. And then on the 15th, it all turned to mush. So job number 1, I guess, for all of us is to get back to where we were before. At least the pace of the business back to where it was before. But then we've got to go into growth, because if we really want to go for our personal goals and visions and aspirations, and we want to buy the 50-foot yacht to go across the Atlantic, or is it 51-foot yacht, sorry, to go across the Atlantic, we've got to get a business growth there. So we've got to do all these principles and strategies, but get them to grow as well. So we've got some strategic choices we can make. How do we grow the business? Organically? Do we open a new branch? Do we look at do we float? Do we buy? Do we make an acquisition? Do we go international? Do we look at licensing? Do we look at franchising? all sorts of options we can look at. And it depends on what you want to do. I have a particular sort of a bit of a passion for franchising, because that's my part of my background, my heritage as well. I've seen it when we were in the recruitment business and when we started in this business as well. I think it's a lovely model, underrated model actually. I know Sam's biased, already got a franchise business, and Vicky spends a lot of time talking to franchisors, making sure they don't make a mess of it. But franchising is an interesting model. So let's look at some ideas and principles you may want to build in to your strategic plan to get some growth. So one of the things we to consider is, why are you going to be considered as the couture provider in your sector, or the off the rack provider? And both models absolutely work. It depends which one you want to go for, or is there a mix of the two? And this comes back to, I ran a company donkeys years ago. Now, the lovely guy called Peter Dobner, and we're still in touch now. He's based in Austria. We still talk, and I did a podcast with him, and it must be about 30 years since I was with him. Anyway, yeah, Google couture, steady on. So this is what we were doing then, the business he was running, his company. We were making ball gowns, ball dresses for professional dancers, professional amateur ballroom dancers, ballroom dancing, Latin American dresses, fabrics, shirts and suits and shoes, the whole range of things. We sold gallons and gallons of fake tan. You wouldn't believe these dancers, bless them, they literally bath themselves in fake tan. It's quite bizarre. But anyway, so we're making these dresses. Now, this one you can see on the screen is, I nicked it off online. It's one of their dresses. It's obviously for a ballroom dress out of their couture range. This is another dress, or a lady in a dress. Now, the price of the couture dress, which basically just for Gareth means made to measure, made bespoke, it's one-off. Anyway, just so you don't have to Google it. These we would sell for, and they currently sell for, 4,500, but from 2,500, 3,500, 4,500, 5,000. All sort of range of prices, but they're a significant investment. The dress on the right, and this is a real one. I got it off the website this morning, not from the same company, but this dress, you can buy this dress for £87.50. So you've got two dresses, which to the layman, I guarantee, they'd sort of look, well, not the same, but what the heck's the difference between the £87.50 dress and the 4,500 dress? That's the difference between off the rack and couture. Couture is designed for you, it's made to measure, it's unique and special, likely handmade. I know the work that goes into making these dresses. So the sort of bluey turquoise one, huge amount of work goes into. They're handmade. The pattern on the front of the dress is likely to be Swarovski rhinestones stuck on by hand. Takes hours and hours to design it, and the dress will be made to obviously to fit the dancer, but made for a specific event maybe. So we've got to make sure that the color of the dress doesn't clash with the color of the dance floor, for example, or the color of the walls in the particular venue they're going to be dancing in. And we'd match the shoes to match the dress. And we know it's a full design package, very, very unique, very personal, very special, and couture 4,500 or £87.50. Now, which are you going to be doing? Are you going to be £87.50 off the rack, multiple product, high volume but cheap price, low margin, or on the couture side of the business? Now, I think for most of us, we've got to be towards the couture side. We've got to be in the designed for bespoke, high value, made to measure type side of the business. It doesn't mean you only make a one-off, if you like, but these dresses would take a long time, to design. We had world-class designers make them, and schemes were done. You could choose from a range, and then you could buy this fabulous dress. So which end of the spectrum are you going to be, couture or off the rack? Now, we had a term that we would use, and we called it rackature, which is a mix between the two, like a hybrid, which is probably where we want to be as well. And what it basically means is that you have the same chassis but different trim options. And when we used to talk about this, me and the chairman there, or one of the non-exec directors there, he was not a dancer, I'm not a dancer, and we would sit there as the only two non-dancers in the organization, and we'd talk in engineering terms, and we talk about a chassis with different trim options. And that's what these dresses fundamentally were. The fabrics and the framework is all very, very similar, but then you put on different trim options, different styles, different fabrics, different gemstones, and you build it up from there. So we're probably going to be in this sort of hybrid version. So look at your products and services. We want to have a standard high value product, gold, silver, bronze, or something like that. But also we want to be able to adapt it to suit. We want to have that couture service. If somebody comes to you in the martial arts business, for example, and we say, okay, we've got a range of services from weekly, twice a week to full engagement. And somebody says, well, I actually want something different. I want to work with one-on-one with your top instructor for 5 hours a week. I want to do fitness. I want to do nutrition. I want to do martial arts. I want to have accelerated grading potential, whatever it is. They want this unique service. Then we've got to be able to provide that as well. So we want the couture sort of service for the bespoke service, and they're going to pay for that. That's the 4,500 product as well. Don't avoid having high level developed, designed for you services, because that's where there's not for the bulk of your business, but you're going to miss out on some really cool clients if you don't have that. So we want to have the couture service, the off the peg service or the rack service, but have the flexibility in between as well. The money, if you like, or the sales, what makes more money? The people making the lots and lots of dresses, or people making 1 and 2 and 3 dresses? And it's a mix of, you're in the volume business, you're in the couture business. I think for all of us, we're in the couture type business. We want to be bespoke and flexible, but high dollar, high margin, high value, designed to suit products, services, and programs. We can't compete anywhere else if we're not careful. Now, what you can also do is you don't have to just sell your products, sell your services, and this moves into sort of the franchising loop. I'm not a franchise specialist. My official advice, should you be considering franchising your business, speak to Vicky, not me. Vicky will go through the principles and the concepts and the structure. My role is the sort of principal concepts of franchising overall, but there's a legal framework, there's a lot of agreements, a lot of things you need to be careful of. Don't just think you can go and magically make a franchise appear out of nowhere. But the concept, the principles are quite interesting. And what we found was in the frock shop, as I used to call it, is that rather than sell the dress, well, you can rent it out. You can rent it. So this is what they do. So this is an advert, current advert that they're running, a dress hire service. Now, if you look at the small print down here, it's a fabulous dress. I think that's one of their sponsored dancers. Beautiful dress, very, very high value, maybe made for one of the top dancers, maybe been seen at the World Championships or something like that. But you can rent this dress for, and you can see on there, you can hire it for only £800. So you're going to hire the dress for a weekend or a competition or something like that, and then you bring it back, and then it has to be repaired and cleaned and all that sort of thing, ready to go again. But you still own the dress. So the business has the assets sat on its balance sheet, and they've made this fabulous thing, and they're going to rent it out. Now, a dress like this, they are extremely robust, but they do have a shelf life. They don't have, there's a fashion thing. The colors go out of fashion, and also they wear out when they're on the dance floor. These things get knocked around quite a bit. It's pretty full on. The ballroom dancing is not just it's not very gentle, so they're going to get damaged and wear out. So they can rent it out a number of times, but likely makes it more accessible to a new range of people, and they probably make more money out of it by renting it rather than selling it. So consider that. What could you rent out? And what I mean by that is, could you not just sell your service or products? Yeah, but rent them, let people borrow them and bring them back. I don't know how that would turn out in your particular business, but renting is an ideal way of keeping the assets, letting people have access to it, but retaining the value in the business as well. So what we're looking at really from a client perspective is, we used to have, back in the 90s and the 2000s, a transactional relationship with our clients. And that was, we would do a job, send an invoice, and that's it, away we go. We take the money and run, if you like. Those days are gone. Now we're into the relational aspect of clients and prospects. We want to have long-term relationships with our clients. I would suggest retention is a key driver. I think for most of us in the business that we've got here, we want long-term relationships with clients. Now, it may be for somebody, Stefan, I'll pick on you, for example. If you're relocating somebody to Luxembourg, think, well, the person you relocate is not going to be a client of yours every month and every whatever as you go along. But the organization that they work for may well be. They may move again and want to work with you. They may recommend you to other people. So even if the transaction is limited, the relationship is long term. So we're in the relational business right now. And this is where we can look to bring people on board at different levels. And so we can look, we can rent out our business to them in different areas. We can rent slices of that business to them. Have you got a subscription program? Can we, can people, for example, register online with you, and for £15, 20 quid a month or 20 euros a month, can they have access to some videos, some content, some papers, be part of a group or part of the gang, if you like? Can they subscribe as a member before they become a full-blown client? Can they dip their toe in the water with you to find out what you do and how you do it before they commit to being a full client? Because that means accessibility is much, much broader. It means you can go international straight away because you have clients and customers all over the world, but you can rent out part of your business to people, your intellectual property, your ideas, your thoughts. Now, what you can't do for Sam, for example, you've got somebody who wants to see what you guys get up to. You can't maybe clean their house with one of your franchisees because they're in Aberdeen, for example, and the franchisees are down on the south coast. Well, maybe you could have a range of videos with cleaning tips. I see these videos pop up regularly, and we got a very good one. Apparently, I don't sound made a better than me, but if you want to descale your kettle, all you do is boil a lemon inside the kettle for 5 minutes, and the acid takes all the scale off. You pour it out, re-clean it again, clean kettle. Fabulous tip. Things like that people be engaged with, that would maybe do two things: attract people to Domestic Angels, but also attract franchisees to Domestic Angels. Would they pay for that sort of valuable information? Maybe they would, I don't know. But how can we get a subscription package so people are buying from us or participating on a relational basis before they become full clients or maybe even franchisees? Same goes for, I think, Amandeep, for martial arts. I know you guys do a lot of work on the video side, for example, through Clubhouse and this sort of thing. Get people involved and engaged in participating in the business before they become a full-blown client or stakeholder. Can you rent your IP? And this is the franchising mindset. It's an interesting one. I'm going to bring Vicky in a couple of seconds, not to give us any free and valuable advice, just to correct me if I'm wrong, I think, just to be careful what I'm saying. But you've got IP, intellectual property, that you've built over the years in your business, which includes how you do what you do, the servicing, the marketing, the deliverability, the values, the vision, everything to do with your business is your intellectual property. And when you've developed all these things about fragmentation and packages and the marketing, that all forms part of your IP. It just is how you run and develop your business. And what we can do is take all those ideas and principles you've got, and from a growth point of view, we can then say to somebody else, well, we're going to rent you the rights to use my intellectual property. So I'll tell you how to do the sales and marketing and delivery. We have a brand, we have a service package, we have all the things you need to run your business. So you don't have to think about it. You do what we show you, and you can have a fabulous business. We will charge you for the privilege of doing that. It's either through a franchise fee or a training fee or a royalty fee. But the beauty of it is that person, they don't own your IP. They are just borrowing it. They're renting it from you effectively, because through a franchise agreement or a license agreement, something like that, you can give them all the good stuff. They work not as an employee, but they work under your banner, and it gives you that ability to scale your business without having all the upfront costs or recruiting people and having employees. The franchising model is a very interesting one. Now, you can do it once, you can do it a number of times. You can have a number of franchises, if you like, all over your territory, all over the world, if you want. What you can also do is the next level, and this is how you can achieve real scalability. Once you've built it once and it's working, you can then say to somebody, okay, well, I'm going to sell you as a person the rights to use my IP in your territory, in a certain country or a county or whatever it is. And that person then, they become your franchisee. the master license, for example, is the term maybe used, and they then go and attract all the other franchisees, and they have their own little network within their territory or county or whatever it's going to be. And you just do that with a number of the people. And it sounds very easy and sort of straightforward, and it's not. But from a mindset point of view, from a scalability point of view, if we look at building your business where it's structured and systemized, and we have all your ideas and values and everything built into it, from a scalability perspective, it can be an option to look at licensing or franchising. It gives that degree of scalability. The downside, if you like, if there's a downside of franchising, is obviously you share in the profits. Effectively, the franchisee runs the business and they will take profits out of their business. They'll pay you a royalty fee, but you're sacrificing a bit of profitability maybe on the basis of allowing them to come in, but then they pay you for the benefit, therefore the early cash flow and the risk is lower. So there's all sorts of things to look at and consider with that. And I'm not recommending specifically that you build a franchise business, but from a scalability perspective, the mindset of a franchisor is really interesting. And even if you're not going to franchise, if you're going to open up a branch or a second department or a division or something like that, if you treat it as if it's a franchise, which is basically a systemized, structured approach to building, developing a business, if you do it that way, if you open up a branch and you've got an employee running it for you, up in a different part of the country or something like that, the principles of franchising, even if you don't have the franchise constraints and contracts, the principles really work. So treat your business as if it's a franchise, even if you're not going to do it, is the key thing there. But it does give this sort of degree of scalability. It takes all the ideas that you've got and allows you to duplicate them through employment, if you want to, or through other things as well. So I'm going to, if it's okay, I'm going to pick on Vicky for a second. Is that okay? Because Vicky's going to say, I shouldn't have said this or I shouldn't have said that. But Vicky, could you just give us a sort of a very overview? What is the essence of franchising? What to watch out for? Why should people speak to you about it for a start off? Just give us a quick heads up, maybe some of the things I've missed or I've contradicted myself on.
Sure. Well, the good thing is you covered it quite well, actually. Good work. I'll give you a job. No, the point that I was making, which is about treating a business like a franchise, is really, really valuable, and it's something that goes right back to Michael Gerber's E-Myth Revisited, which well worth read if anyone is interested, because it's all about systemizing what you've got and productizing what you've got, which is what we're talking about today, and making that really scalable. Whether or not you do decide to scale it, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to do so in the future. And the IP point, I mean, we've all got IP arising all the time. It's in anything that we write down. I mean, David's got a copyright notice at the bottom of his screen. Everything he creates is automatically protected by copyright, but there are other things which we can pay to register and protect, things like trademarks, patents, design rights. And it's really important that whoever the brand owner is does that first and foremost before franchising, not least because a franchisee is going to ask if you do have rights to use it and if those rights are protected. But also it stops a franchisee, or particularly when you're going overseas, it's much better if the original brand owner still owns the brand in that territory, so that you've always got the control because it's something that you built up.
Okay.
And just making sure you license it properly, you make it very clear what people can and can't do under your brand. I mean, you'll never go into a pink and purple McDonald's because you're just not allowed to do it. There are color schemes, you've got to use menus, you've got to use, and it's got to follow a system so that every end user customer, wherever they are in the world, gets a very similar service. And that's the power of franchising when it's done well. But IP is arguably the most fundamental part of it. IP and good systems.
I think the key, again, for me, looking at it from a franchising point of view or systems point of view, is this consistency. Because if we bring a degree of predictability to what we do, provided it's predictably good, not predictably bad, but it's predictable, people get comfortable with that and they know what they're going to get, and they build that relational aspect with us, that they like it, they know what they're going to get, they know what to expect, and it becomes that sort of ongoing long-term relationship. And I think franchising does that very well. We do make a point, and we do a lot of traveling when we're allowed to, and we will go to McDonald's, not for any reason, but to see what it's like, to see what's the difference. And there are differences, the marginal differences Over here, for example, I don't know if you have this in the UK at all, but there's banners up over here. They have the avocado McDonald's now. So you get the McDonald's burger with avocado on top. Do you get that in the UK? They sell beer in exactly. I'm allowed to go past it. I'm not allowed to go into it now, but anyway, but they sell beer, they sell alcohol over here, and they have slightly different sauces and more mustard over here than ketchup, for example. So they're marginally different, but pretty much a 90%, Vicky, as you were saying, it's the same sort of thing. It's the same colors and context and service and that type of thing. And whether you like them or not, they are predictably, good. If you get stuck somewhere in the middle of nowhere, we got stuck in Albania once. What do you do for lunch in Albania? Well, you find a McDonald's and hope for the best, because it's just what you're going to get. So there is that, but also I think it is this repeatability. Scalability is the key as well. But also, if you've got a systems driven business, it's worth more, because likely that the business runs without your direct involvement in it as an owner, and the systems run the business, the team run the systems, and the systems support you as the owner. So if you want to ever sell the business, or at least get some time away from it, if it's running on a systemized basis, the business may be more valuable from a sales perspective, or it may take up less time for you to run it as well. So a lot of sort of potential benefits there from using the franchise approach. I mean, Vic, any pitfalls? What are the 3, 4? What are the key mistakes that people make when attempting to sort of franchise their business? Don't give any names, but you must see some real horror stories. What do they forget to do? What do they get wrong? What should people avoid?
I think they don't specifically set out the relationship properly at the beginning. The best franchises do, upfront what you're going to have, and as soon as you're presented with an agreement, it should make sense because of what the franchisor's already said about this is the relationship, this is how we work. So not doing that upfront is a pitfall. Not monitoring and policing the brand. If you're aware that customers are complaining and they're putting things on social media about your brand, even if they mean a specific franchisee in a small territory, not dealing with that soon enough. Big impact on neighboring franchisees, on the brand as a whole.
Yes, okay.
That's really crucial. And probably Sam's better to give an opinion on this than me, but just constant communication with your network, because at the end of the day, they're your brand ambassadors all over the country or world. And if they are aligned with you and what you're doing, it's going to be much easier to grow that without it fragmenting and going wrong.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I mean, communication, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a good point. As it is in lots of businesses, but I think specifically in the franchise world, these are ambassadors out there, and it is a fabulous sector. So again, anybody listening to the recording of this and you're thinking of exploring franchising proper, welcome to contact me, but also please contact Vicky Mittman, and she will put you straight, guide you through, make sure you don't end up in prison or something like that in some dark part of the world. Okay, Vicky, thank you, Vicky. And Sam, anything to add? I know you're one of the top franchisors in the UK, so with a fabulous team of franchisees. Are there any sort of tips?
I think the award was for Europe, wasn't it?
Oh, there you go. My apologies. Okay.
No, I think what you've both said about treat your business as though you're going to franchise it, so that you do lots of process definition that can be scaled up and repeated, then you will have a strong business regardless of which way you decide to scale it, whether you want to keep it yourself or use a franchise model or a license model or some sort of other creative alternative that I can't think of off the top of my head. It is key to making a really strong business, because even if you scale, you're going to need somebody to help you. And that could be something as simple as answering the phone, but you need them to answer the phone the way that you do within your culture, because you've learned that from day one. Now, you might think it's a very simple thing, but the best example I can give you is one that we use when we're training people to do process definition for building and designing software, which sounds a bit random, but we do help people do that because we've designed our own. And it's about making a cup of tea, which should be very, very simple, because we all know how to make a cup of tea, don't we? But do we? So you take a kettle, you put the water in, you put the kettle on the heat source, and it comes to the boil. And then step 2 is going to be, you're going to get a cup out of the cupboard, you're going to put a tea bag in the cup, and then you're going to put the milk in the cup. And everybody in the room goes, no, we don't do that. I put the milk in after I've brewed the tea, which is quite right, because in actual fact, if you put the milk in first, you scold the milk. So the thing is about defining the process so that the people who are working for you know exactly when you want the milk added in your business. So that is including answering the phone or creating something as sophisticated as an IT system.
Yeah.
So defining those processes is really, really crucial.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, as an exercise, you can try this out. Then making a cup of tea is a great example. But if you had to write down the system, the process of making a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and you have to go to teach it to I was say to an idiot, but to somebody who's never done it before. They walk into a kitchen, they've no idea what they're doing. What's the system for making a cup of tea? Well, you got to tell what the kettle. What's the kettle look like? How did you use it? Where'd you plug it in? Where's the switch? How much water did you put into it? Where's the water come from? You boil the water. What's that mean? Well, the boiling the automatic kettle. You get a mug. Where's the mug kept? What size of mug is it? You put the tea bag in it, and it sounds crazy, but this is the level of detail. If you want to put anybody to make that same cup of tea in the same way every time, the system isn't just a case of put the kettle on, bung in a tea bag and hope for the best. That's not a system. And most companies actually run that way. They think they're systemized, but they have no idea. They're not systemized at all. So systems have to be detailed, they're granular, they are overbearing to a certain extent. But if you're serious about scalability and growth and consistency, the cup of tea that you make in your office in Southampton will be the same as it is made in Manchester if you have exactly the same equipment and procedures and processes. And the other thing, of course, the missing ingredient in all this is the people. You've got to get consistent people coming through. And I think bringing people into an organization, whether you're going to franchise or not, whether they're franchisees or employees or freelancers, whatever it is, that is the number one downfall in my experience of organizational growth, because we get the wrong people, or not wrong people for us in an organization or the company, and it just kills it. I did an event, a workshop on Monday up in Luxembourg for one of the big four, doesn't matter which one it was, and we're talking about productivity and efficiency and time management and getting work done and quality and team spirit and leadership, all these sort of good things. And after the session, one of the ladies came over to me and she said, look, she said, great, I get it, absolutely fabulous. She said, you know what, she said, working here, she said, it's amazing, it's great. So the work is great. The work is fine. I understand the work. It's high level, it's legal, it's financial, it's consulting, all this, I understand that. She said, the work's fine. It's not the work, it's the people. The people make it difficult, and that's probably a bit of a metaphor for, for all of us, between us as business owners, entrepreneurs. It's always the people that make it difficult, either the people that are clients and customers or suppliers, but also for the people we have in the organization as well. We've got to be really sure, really clear on the type of people we're looking for. And it's never going to be perfect, never going to be perfect at all, but we want to make sure we get the right people. And it goes back to the conversation that Simon and I were having the other evening about people having the right personality, the right approach and attitude. You can train them. If you've got good systems in your business, you can train anybody to make the tea. You can train anybody to do anything. There's none of us, I don't think, none of us are making, building satellites or anything like that, or warheads or anything particularly technical. We get good people that have an attitude and personality, and then we train them in our systems and our structure. That's the way to do it. You get good people and they shine through. And I know there's some, people on here. And Stefan just got a new person jumped onto the team. There's now out and about with the boss today. Is David, who comes from I'm going to ask Stefan to give us a couple of tips here, because the person that Stefan has recruited or chosen has no experience at all of the relocations business. So can Stefan, can you give us a quick sort of journey board of how did you find and locate David, who we call him David Jr. now, don't we? Because he's joined the team. He's younger than me. So yeah, I'm picking on you again. So just give us a quick heads up on how the recruitment approach went.
Well, first to tell the story, we did a first recruitment in October, November last year, which didn't go very well because I think the mistake we did is we looked at somebody who had already an experience in the relocation business, instead of looking for a personality that would match the way we are working. And so we started the process all over again and looking for somebody who would fit our small team. Of course, when you are in a bigger organization, it's much easier to fit somebody, you know, and train that person. But in a small team, it must must fit who you are and how you work. And so it took us longer to select the person. We did, I think, 5 interviews. We asked the guy to write some papers as well, just to see how he would think, how he would react. I must say he started on Monday, but officially, but he wanted to help us already and start to work with us 2 weeks ago. So we've been, you know, exchanging back and forth, and I must say that he's very efficient and learning very fast. So we didn't need anybody coming from the industry if he's able to learn fast and to bring his new ideas and, you know, experience in his previous business. He was working for hotels, and he knows about customer service, which is the most important part for us.
Absolutely. I think, you know, if you want people to be good at customer service and you're in whatever sector you're in, the hotel business, at the top end at least, is a great place to find good people. They have to be good at customer service, very demanding, dealing with the public, keeping a smiling face. You know, that's a tough end of customer service. And that's what, I mean, I know that's what he brings. But he's a genuinely nice guy as well. So hopefully when we're on the final session of this next week, the good news continues. We'll see what happens. But getting the right people is absolutely critical. And it's not their technical skills, it's not their educational background, particularly attitude, personality. And we use, as you know, we use the DISC personality profile tool. I recommend it if you're looking to recruit people. Do all the questions, all the interviews, check out their personality from a development perspective as well, and, you know, choose personality and attitude over skills. There are very few jobs, unless you need, and you know, if you need a top lawyer, you need a top accountant or a specific engineer with skills, you know, a certified welder or something. You're not going to bring somebody in who's just a nice person and chuck them on a welding course. You need the skills. But for a lot of the jobs that are done in most of our businesses, we need attitude and personality, at least, in addition to the core skills as well. So I would recommend that. So anyway, any questions on this side? Because scalability and growth is a key one. They're on the couture route or off the peg or the rack, if you like, that sort of thing. Any questions? Let's drop it into the chat box, because I'm going to go back into the breakout rooms in a second or two and give you a quick brief for another sort of 15 20 minutes. Any questions? It's all making sense so far. Excellent. Thank you for, I think I've picked on enough people for now, so it's okay. I see. Yes, need to Google couture. It's complicated for non-British. So there you go. Okay. Yes, you can pour the beer. Excellent. All right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go into invite you to go back into the breakout rooms. Molly the Labrador has turned up. You can probably hear her stamping around. She thinks it's food time, so it's not. So I've been joined by Molly. Those who saw our post during the week, by the way, about Lucy, the beagle, went to the vet over the weekend. The beagle was off her food, which for a beagle is unheard of. They eat anything, unfortunately, and went to the vet, and they did a couple of blood tests, this sort of thing. They kept her in overnight, and when we went to pick her up on the Monday morning, they gave us a bag of pills and some food, and they gave this whole thorough printout of all the things they thought were wrong with her and all the ongoing treatments that she was going to have. The bill for just the treatment, the blood test, and a couple of whatever they did to her, €650 for the blooming dog. So we're going to buy a gun and shoot the dog next time. But actually, when we got her back here, we found there was a blockage in her throat that was probably missed. Cleared that out, gave her some warm water, drank it down. 10 seconds, she's back to normal. She's absolutely fine. So anyway, there we go. stories from dog ownership. You got dogs, you understand these sort of things, but still. So anyway, we're going to go into the breakout rooms, and the question is really, from what we've gone through, what are your goals and ideas? How are you going to put this strategic plan together now? What's your vision goal going to be? And what I'd like you to do is consider all your business for the next 12 months, and between each other, pitch your vision. What's your vision going to be? How do you see your business coming out of COVID? What's the plan going to be? Scalability? Is it going to be, building different products and services, using technology, using virtual? How are you going to scale this thing? Because we need to get the businesses growing and back on track. So I'll invite you to go into the breakout rooms. We're going to do about sort of 15 minutes in the breakout rooms, if that's okay. We'll come back in, have a sort of Q&A, wrap it up, and away you go. So I'm going to create the rooms. I'm going to stop or pause the recording for a second. And welcome back. There we go. People dropping back into the room, I think. Excellent. There we go. I think we're all back in now, so marvelous. I can shut that down. Okay. Good. So how was that?
Good.
Good. Look at that. Look at the faces. So who had the best pitch? Any just pick on anybody who had the best, biggest, brightest vision? Any volunteers to share the best pitch? Let's point at somebody. Who have we got? I haven't picked on Mr. Gareth Hughes yet, have I? So I'll pick on Mr. Gareth Hughes. I'm going to pick on Mr. Gareth Hughes.
I quite like Kev's, actually.
Okay, good.
Kev is to be the second business coaching company of choice. I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's a good aim. It's a good aim.
It's a good aim. He's hanging on to your coattails, is he?
No, I quite like is to be the coaching company of choice based on client results, I think, which is
okay, that's great. That which is the reason
for outstanding client results.
Outstanding client results. Yes.
Fabulous. Okay. Good.
Yeah. I mean, Kev, if you want to be second, that's fine. That's your choice. I would always go stretch yourself, but if you want to be second, that's it. If you want to go,
I conquered Shrewsbury once.
You flooded it now. Shrewsbury's underwater.
Yeah. We're still cleaning the mess up.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty good. Well, thank you. Good. Okay, so it's good to have that clarity of vision with the strategic choices to go with it, about the pricing, the involvement, the thin slicing. Membership is a great way to have. There's a very contemporary theme now, this sort of membership economy, if you like. And I think over the COVID lockdown, certainly we've all got used to working on this little blooming square or rectangular screen. It was nice to get on. I'm up stage again tomorrow up in Luxembourg with a real live audience, which is really cool. It's nice to get back to that. But this is the opportunity we've got, and I think that this is coming now for the UK. Next few weeks for the UK. Over here, we're a little bit behind, but things are already happening. Some good things coming along. Don't read the Daily Mail or that sort of thing. The economy is going to be fine. It's going to bounce back real quick. So before we begin to wrap it up, any questions? Any questions for me? Got me captive? Anything I can help with that was unclear? And I'll do my very best. If not, I'll palm it off onto somebody else. But any questions for me while we're all together? Any questions? Any concerns? Anything I can help with? You are the quietest group in the world. I've never known a group so quiet and passive, in a nice way. I still love you all. It's okay. So no questions for the third coach, third best coach in the UK. The look of it now, for goodness sake.
It's because you did a great presentation, David.
Oh, you are fantastic. Thank you very much. I love you. You're my favorite now. You're my favorite. All right, guys. So look, what I'll do, I'll get this recording download it, be on YouTube. I'll circulate the notes around with the PDF and that sort of thing. We're back again next week on Thursday, not Wednesday. Why would it change to Wednesday? But anyway, back on Thursday next week. And I think we're going to have to make a judgment call about timing of these things in a good way, because people are getting busy now and we want to fit in with the content around people's busy schedules. We'll look at that as we go along. So Thursday next week, same time, same channel. I'll send out all the updates as we go along. I'll speak to everybody before then anyway. So thank you for participating. I hope it's been useful, been valuable, and I'll speak to you as we go along. Have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see you, if not before, next week on Thursday on the webinar as well. But thanks for participating, and bye for now.